We back with another one, y'all, man. Buddha Gang in the building, man. Y'all already know how we coming. D4vd's, aka David, his managers, they messed up. He's still in hot water. You know what I'm saying? They got people on the run. They don't want to testify, say what happened to Celeste, you know what I'm saying? But you know it's only a matter of time. So let's see what's going on.
What's poppin', y'all? I haven't talked about the situation for quite a while because I feel like there haven't been any real developments, and that's really it. I haven't had much to say except for one of my theories. But recently, we finally getting closer to an arrest happening in the David situation, which is the murder of the girl Celeste Rivas, and the covering up of the body. But this has to do with an individual that isn't David potentially getting arrested. So recently, it was reported by TMZ and Harvey Levin when they were saying that an uncooperative witness is to be arrested. And this is the grand jury right now. They're saying there's trouble in the grand jury room where witnesses are testifying about the circumstances surrounding Celeste Rivas' death. Because at least one witness is so uncooperative, she is about to be arrested, TMZ has learned. So it's a girl, not a guy. Here's the way it went down. Beth Silverman, the deputy.
So if they ain't arrested her yet, she probably got up out of here because TMZ done told her she was about to get arrested. Crazy, but we'll see.
DA presenting the case in Los Angeles came out into the hallway Wednesday afternoon and approached attorney Evan Jennis. She represents Robert Morgenroth, who manages singer David. Now, this I want to get into a little bit more. So there's Robert Morgenroth, who is somebody that works at Mogul Vision. So Mogul Vision, this is going to get a little bit confusing, but we're going to cover that once we get specifically into the situation. But Mogul Vision works with David. And it continues and says, Silverman told Jennis that she was going to have the judge issue a body attachment to force a female witness to testify before the grand jury. It appears the female witness was a no-show, and visibly frustrated Silverman said she would have authorities take the female witness into custody and bring her into the courtroom. So Evan Jennis is the DA. She's going to be the one that's prosecuting the case, which is like, hey, this is the case that we have. This is what we're building. These are the witnesses. This is a potential defendant, etc. We do not know who the female witness is, but it's interesting she's represented by the same lawyer as Morgenroth, who spent around 3 days testifying before the grand jury. TMZ broke the story. Morgenroth was in the hallway on Monday telling his lawyer things got tense in the grand jury room when the deputy DA pressed him on why he didn't call police, which means that there would be something to call police about. He didn't say what he knew that would make Silverman challenge him on not making the call, but he said he responded to her by saying he didn't think it was his duty and he was trying to keep David's tour going. This is actually one of the craziest things ever. It's unclear if the female witness has some connect.
He looked like he was up to no good. You know what? Lock him up too. What we waiting on, man? Oh, well, I ain't think I need to tell the police because I wanted to keep the tour going. I wanted to make sure the tour kept going. Well, guess what? Because y'all did that to that girl, we want to make sure you go to jail. Lock that man up too.
To Morgenroth, but it all points to David, whom the DA and LAPD are treating as a suspect in what they say is the murder of Celeste. So initially, they weren't really looking into him, and then a couple of weeks ago, they said, okay, this guy's actually a suspect. And I mean, what am I going to do? Make a video talking about the guy's a suspect? That takes 15 seconds. So I was like, okay, we'll just see what happens. But this is really interesting. So we're going to go back to his managers because his situation is, I wouldn't say it's out of the norm, but it is out of the norm for somebody as big as him. So the general manager of Mogul Vision, David's record label, who appeared before the grand jury regarding the death of Celeste, was way more than a record exec. He was involved in David's day-to-day life. So Mogul Vision is a company that was started by this guy, Josh Marshall, off the back of Lil Mosey. To be fair, Lil Mosey, I think he was managed or signed initially to some sort of production deal, some situation with this guy, Josh Marshall. Lil Mosey was a huge success, right? Like Mosey had multiple hits and blew.
Lil Mosey, never heard of him. Never heard of him. Don't know none of his songs, never heard none of his music. He ain't that big.
Barry Fago was going crazy. Around this time, this guy from Mogul Vision, Josh Marshall, got an opportunity to start a record label in partnership with Interscope Geffen. And this is the deal with Interscope. So Interscope, most of the time, and this is around 2022, I think, or 2023, And Mogul Vision also had Ruby Rose and this other girl called Gigi Perez. So to be on Interscope, you have to have like a partnership deal. Like, for example, you have Aftermath Interscope. You have Darkroom, which we're going to get into in a little bit. Darkroom Interscope. So Interscope, it's very rare, or if ever, that you'll see Interscope Geffen with just the artist. It's usually a record label that is in a joint venture partnership with Interscope, and then they have the artist signed under there. So David is one of these people that is on Mogul Vision, but the odd part is that would mean that he is managed by his own record label, which is a massive conflict of interest. So this guy Morgenroth, he's just a manager that works at the label.
He looks suspicious. Look at him. He look like he done did something, man. Drop a Buddha bum if you think we done solved the case already. Like, he looked like he did something wrong. Look at him. I don't even like his name, Morgenroth. Like, who the hell would name that shit? Morgenroth. Like, come on, bro. He did it. Lock him up.
Not just, but this is a small label. But the odd thing is that when you look at David's music, all of David's music, it's by Darkroom. So Darkroom is run by Justin Lubliner, who he's the founder of it, and he's the guy that discovered Billie Eilish. So Billie Eilish's record label is Darkroom. It's also Darkroom Interscope. But you look at any of David's projects from Petals to Thorns, which is when in 2023, that was Darkroom Interscope, and it was also Withered, the project that released this year. That was also Darkroom Interscope. So his whole catalog doesn't have Mogul Vision on it at all. In contrast to a Lil Mosey, for instance, where if you look at his project from Certified Hitmaker, right, you can see on the bottom of that it says Mogul Vision Interscope Records. So I don't know what's up with that, but this guy was managing David. So I thought Mogul Vision was just David's management, and they also operate as a management company in the same way that QC, Quality Control, they had a management division and they had a record label division. So Cardi B, who was with Offset was signed to QC, the label, but he was also managed by QC, and that was an issue that the Migos had for a while, and they were talking about how they wanted out of that deal because they were in a lifetime deal with QC that they would never be able to get out of, and Offset was able to get out of that situation and do his own solo stuff. But Offset brought Cardi B on to QC management. So QC was just managing her career. However, she was still signed to Atlantic Records. She was never signed to QC, the label. So I'm guessing that distinction exists also in Mogul Vision, because otherwise they would be surfacing on the bottom of the records that are dropped on Apple Music or Spotify. Regardless, this guy was handling the tour, and he says Robert Morgenroth is someone the grand jury prosecutor is intensely interested in, as we report. We overheard him say in the courtroom hallway that the prosecutor hammered him on why he didn't call police. We don't know the context. And he's more than a general manager. He was also David's day-to-day manager. Turns out there were two managers. The other is Josh Marshall. He's the founder of Mogul Vision, and along with Morgenroth, managed the singer's career. So I think this is a management situation. This is an important distinction that I don't think TMZ is going to make, because I don't think it matters to the majority of people that are following this story, because they just care about the case. But we're kind of like intertwined with the music, so I'm really interested to see how the business of this is handled. You may remember Marshall. He's the one who signed the lease on the house David was living in. The home police searched shortly after Celeste's body was discovered in David's Tesla. Law enforcement says the house is an important piece of the puzzle, which the LAPD believes implicates David in Celeste's death, which police believe is a murder. So here, this is nothing out of the ordinary. Managers are the parents of artists. They handle everything. They will be booking his flight tickets. They will be handling the lease of the house for the most part. They will be booking the Airbnbs. Most of them end up getting their Airbnb banned because the artist is doing some goofy stuff on there. So the manager handles, that's the point. The manager is supposed to make the artist's life as smooth as possible for them to do what they do best, which is perform, make music, and apparently whatever else this guy was doing. Morgenroth is president of Zara Brothers Travel, David's tour company. Yo, this is an incestuous thing that they've got going on here. So David's touring company is run by the same people that manage David, who also might be the same people that signed David.
They stealing all his money. I ain't gonna lie. They taking all his money. They getting money all around the board. We the manager. We the tour manager. We rent out the houses. They making sure they getting all his money.
This guy's in a 900 deal. What the? This is insane. What the hell? Oh my goodness. They've got this guy 3 ways. Because usually the touring company will be different. Like people will tour with Live Nation, but they're not also signed to Live Nation. Anyway, TMZ broke the story. Morgan Roth walked out of the grand jury courtroom, and then there was talk. And this is the craziest line that I don't think anybody else is mentioning. He says, I said I feel like I didn't have the responsibility to do that and just wanted to continue with the tour. He didn't want to call police. I'm going to tell you guys exactly what I believe that this is, what I believe. And this lends itself to my theory. So if you guys recall, when the news first came out that there was a dead body found in a Tesla that belonged to David, none of us knew who that body was. The body was unidentified. David had a tour stop that day, and then he went on another tour stop the next day or 2 days after. But there was another tour stop that he did before canceling the tour. So what always perplexed me was if David knew, because he canceled the tour after like 1 or 2 days, once they found out the identity. Yeah, once they announced the identity of Celeste, that's when the tour was canceled. But if you're David and you committed this, let's say he actually did commit it, you know that you committed the crime if you're David. So if there's a body found in a Tesla with your name, you're thinking to yourself, oh, damn, they got me. Like the tour's got to stop. That's what you're thinking. And that's where I think Morgan Roth was like, yo, you got to keep this show going. I don't care if there's a body found. I think maybe the Morgan Roth dude didn't know that it was Celeste. Because if you're David, you know it's Celeste. And my theory was before this was that David, I didn't say David didn't do it, but I was wondering like, yo, did David really do this? Because if he did it and then it's reported that there's a body found in his car, you got to cancel tour because you know who the body is. But if you don't know who the body is, you're like, yo, how the hell did a body get into my car? Well, I haven't used my car in a minute. Maybe somebody towed it. Maybe somebody like used it. Like LA is a crazy place, right? So I think that's what I initially thought why he continued with the tour, because he was like, well, I didn't kill anybody, so that.
Man, he continued with the tour because he felt like the tour was going to keep him away from what was going on, and he could be not on the run per se, but I'm on tour. But he ain't cooperated with the police. He ain't made no statement. He ain't said nothing. His lawyers probably told him no said nothing. They don't know all the evidence the police got yet. His managers was up with it. This other girl they looking for, she was up with it. I say lock everybody up. What we waiting on? Just lock them all up at this point. That's how I feel.
Body ain't got nothing to do with me. We're just going to keep the shows pushing. And that would make sense. But then when he found out it was Celeste, and keep in mind, this is me still thinking in my head of the situation where he might not have done it, because that would be the only reason to continue the tour. But when he found out it was Celeste, then he canceled the tour because he said, well, Celeste is attached to me. So I think it might have been a mix of maybe like heartbreak, not understanding what the hell happened, because maybe he hadn't been in contact with Celeste for months, and then he finds out that she's the body in his Tesla after there was already crazy news that there was a body in his Tesla. So that was the theory that I had. But right now with this, I think it's this guy didn't call the cops because when he found out that there was a body in the trunk of the Tesla. I think that's what they're talking about, because they continued the tour for one more date after that. It was maximum 2 dates before they canceled the tour. And to say that you just wanted to continue the tour, this is one of the most evil quotes ever. You're supposedly, right? Your signee, the guy that you're managing, the guy that you've got on a 900 deal, like this is a friggin' Tony Hawk breaking the world record at the time, like engineering new tricks, or was it there's a 900 and then there's a 1080. Yeah, this guy's on a 1080 deal. 900 is just if you add 180 to 720. So they've got this guy on a 1080 deal, and you're already eating off of him from every single direction. Pause. And you think, yo, we gotta keep the show going. We gotta get this bread. Dog, what? If there's a car, you got to have that conversation with them and get this out the way. Do I think that these guys, Josh Marshall or Morgan Roth, were involved? I don't think so, dog. No way. I think they knew what was going on. And this is the thing with artists and their management.
I think one of them was probably the driver of the Tesla, because why we don't know who was driving the Tesla yet? What happened to that? Well, we don't know who was on the GTA time. You feel me? We don't know. but you riding around LA with a body in the car. You feel me? So, yeah, one of them could have been the driver.
Is doing their job. So their job is to be a parent to a degree, but they have a financial incentive, which is, they kind of have a don't ask, don't tell mentality. So if they see that David's with a chick that looks like, oh, well, I don't know how old that chick is, they're not going to say, yo, why are you with the chick that's this old? What are you doing here? This and that. It depends on the relationship that they have with the person. Somebody that's his man's that came up with David, he might be able to say that. But if they're just a professional relationship, David might just be like, yo, get the hell out of here and fire him. So now that guy is losing out on bread. So he's just thinking about it as like serving himself. And some people will say, well, what about the girl? This guy clearly just said he wanted to continue the tour. I don't see why we couldn't continue making bread. You think he cares about some random girl? He cares about himself and lining his pockets. Now, I'm not saying the guy is evil. I just think that they have this policy where like, yo, we're going to look the other way. Same thing with their artists potentially doing certain substances. They're like, I'm just going to look the other way. And we can also bring this to management of a lot of street rappers. They're in the studio. The rapper's got a blick on them that isn't legal. He's a felon. What, they're going to call the police and be like, hey, my client here, he's got a blick on him. Come on now. That's just not going to happen. So with management, this is why I say managing is a rough job, a thankless job. Like, God bless anybody that actually does it. Not the situation with David. I'm not talking about his management. I'm talking about managing of regular artists that are doing regular artist things. So I think people want to make this more of a conspiracy that this guy had something to do with it. I just don't think that he's that dumb. Frankly, there's just no way that they're going to like try to hide a body. Maybe they might have moved it. Like David was like, oh yeah, move this car. But if they moved the car, then it wouldn't have been stuck on it wouldn't have gotten towed. So yeah, this whole situation it just gets more and more confusing. I think the only bit of clarity I got is in that David probably wanted to cancel tour the day that he got the news that there was a body in the trunk of his car or in the front of his Tesla. I think David wanted to cancel that day. That's my new theory. But this guy was like, yo, you got to keep the show going. And he's not going to say why. So I think David knew that Celeste was there in that trunk, and he just had to continue with the next two dates because his man.
All right. Now I'm saying this because this is what I think happened. I think they know way more. Well, one of them probably moved that car, but I think whoever moved it, I think that person had a problem with David, and that's why they left it out there. Like they left it out there, or some scared them, or they got nerve. Whatever it was, they had to get up out that car quick. You're not finna just leave a car on the street with a body in there and you know everything that's going on. No, you're not gonna do that. So whatever made them leave that car right there, knowing it was his car or whatever, or maybe he didn't do his part. Maybe he was supposed to report the car stolen and he just didn't do it. Because see, he could be telling them one thing and somebody else could be telling him another thing. You see what I'm saying? But for some reason, whoever left that car right there, they was either scared or that's what they was instructed to do. I'll get in the comment section, man. Let me know what y'all think. Check out the playlist too. It's your boy Buddha. I'm out.